What's up, everybody? I hope you guys are doing good as always. And guys, today we're doing this. Brandon Aiyuk's been in the news a lot recently, and I kind of wanted to just take some time to talk about, some of the facts, timing of how things have gone down, and also just some incidents with kind of indicating how this relationship between Aiyuk and the 49ers went so sour. So let's just get into it. Let's take it all the way from the top and start with Aiyuk being drafted by the 49ers in 2020, first round pick. And when Aiyuk got into the building, his kind of presence was felt almost immediately. In fact, by his second year, he was putting up really impressive numbers. And by the season of 2022, he had broken 1,000 yards and also had established himself as the X receiver in Kyle Shanahan's offense. But it would be that 2023 season where Aiyuk would actually have the most success in his career so far. He was able to, have that deep ball threat connection with Purdy, who was also balling at the time. And this is really important schematically, and what I personally have felt that Kyle Shanahan's offense has lacked in the last 2 years without Aiyuk. Aiyuk is able to, beat man coverage. He's able to stretch the field vertically, and therefore he takes a lot of corners and safeties with him. And because Aiyuk is able to do that, that really opens up the middle of the field to receivers like Debo and Kittle. And so, again, passes over the middle has been kind of like a theme for Kyle Shanahan, but again, without a deep vertical threat, hopefully it's Mike Evans this year. That scheme doesn't really work out as well. Aiyuk was also one of the most efficient wide receivers by numbers. He ran about 3.01 yards per route, and that was only behind Nico Collins at 3.11 and Tyreek Hill at 3.72. And now I'm just going to skip past the part that although the Niners had that starred offense in 2023, they still lost the Super Bowl. Just going to move right past that. So Aiyuk's first 4 years on his rookie contract, he'd done a lot and he definitely deserved to be paid. It just so happened that 2024 would be his contract year, and he was looking to get a contract around Amon-Ra St. Brown from the Lions and Tyreek Hill, and that equated around $30 million per year. Now that was a lot for the 49ers. They were looking at around $25 million or so. And so the contract dispute started. And it was a long summer of, holding out, go do a lot of tweets, go on podcasts, kind of just like playing hardball. And eventually it did work because Kyle Shanahan, he recounts the time he had to stop John Lynch from potentially trading Aiyuk to the Steelers at the time. And now kind of looking in hindsight, I wish that happened, but at the time I was really happy about it. Aiyuk was there to stay in the Bay. But then 2024 went how it went. The team season was cooked. Aiyuk also himself by week 7 was gone. Shamari Connor and Trent McDuffie, Chiefs defensive backs, absolutely obliterated his knee. And that would be the last time Aiyuk would actually gear up in 49ers gear or even step foot inside Levi's Stadium. I mean, I guess who would have thought? Just taking a look at some of the numbers, Aiyuk had 75 receptions on 105 targets in 2023 and 25 receptions on 47 targets in 2024. Compare the percentages, and it's not really that much of a difference, but it is enough to say this guy was a wide receiver 1. He should have performed at least at wide receiver 1 levels. But he probably got too much into the contract talks. He didn't, foster that connection that he had with Purdy during training camp. And so I guess it kind of makes sense. I think a wide receiver is one position you really shouldn't try to have a holdout, because that chemistry that you have with your quarterback, it can't really be replicated if you haven't been, practicing it and doing it over and over again. Around sometime in the 2024 season, I became aware that Aiyuk had a YouTube channel. And after he got injured, he kind of posted, recovery, how his recovery was going, rehab, even watching some film like from a Cowboys game, supporting the boys from the sidelines, just what any good teammate would do. But his videos, as you guys have probably seen, turned into something a whole lot different. Now, there was some hope that Aiyuk would return this last season in 2025, because it had been a while, but I think the 49ers kept claiming that he had an ACL, but he also had that MCL injury and also some collateral damage with some cartilage. So it was a pretty severe injury, complicated rehab. But again, I thought that there was enough time had passed. I'd also kind of seen clips of him running on the sideline. He seemed okay, or like at least on track. So it was kind of surprising that Aiyuk did not play at all for the 49ers in 2025. And I think it was around late November of that year where one of the most unexpected things happened for this whole situation. The 49ers completely voided all of Brandon Aiyuk's guaranteed money. And so at the time I thought everything was good. I don't know what happened, but I did some of my own research and trying to figure out like potentially if there was something on Aiyuk's YouTube channel that kind of hinted at maybe what went wrong, and I did find something. If you go onto Aiyuk's YouTube channel under his community posts tab, you kind of see this one message that kind of really resonated with me, and it read something along the lines of, I was on muscle relaxers and Percocets, peeing in a cup on the side of my bed, and the 49ers were trying to trade him. I think it was this incident personally that really kind of offended Aiyuk. The 49ers obviously trying to do exploring their logical options with trying to potentially offload the cap hit from Aiyuk's contract onto another team, but Aiyuk took this pretty personally, and it was also around this time you could kind of tell that Aiyuk was not doing well mentally either. Not even a month later, Aiyuk would post, him driving 100 plus miles past Levi's Stadium, and just an unfortunate situation, because Aiyuk, only at 29 years old, he can still do a lot if he gets his mind right. And I hope he gets the help he needs. But yeah, guys, that's where the situation is at currently. Just kind of wanted to take a second to, appreciate Aiyuk for all he has done for the 49ers. A lot of people hate on him because he didn't come back producing how he should after being paid. I get that criticism. I felt the same. But again, this was one of the better route runners that the Niners have had, and even probably the best blocking wide receiver that the Niners have had so far. Blocking wide receivers, hard to come by, the effort that you have to put in play after play. You don't really see that all the time. So Aiyuk was very good for that reason. But yeah, guys, let me know your guys' thoughts. I still want to see Aiyuk play on another team. Still probably got something left in the tank, whether that's at the Commanders, whether that's somewhere else, maybe Dallas. We'll see. All right, guys, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Take it easy, fam. Peace.